think for every generation, there's always been someone who has to pay the price. And for me right now, one of the most important things is to actively fight for women to get paid for what they do. We've had this conversation now. I think it's just really important that the narrative that we bring out, what we talk about, what we do, is going to really change the face of what we're doing in this country. So I feel for me, like, to uplift women, to uplift each other and tell the right stories is going to really, really change the face of what we're doing, and to fight for a better industry. For me, like, the industry that we're creating, we've had Miriam Makeba fight for Go to Exile through her music. I know of artists that we've worked with, like Zone 14 for me, and I think on Inspire with you, similar actors who would walk kilometers and kilometers and kilometers just to get on stage, get paid very little because of the passion for what they did. And I think now it is our turn to now make certain sacrifices and break certain boundaries and glass ceilings and actually create our own limits, if there are even any. So I'm not here now to look at the glass ceiling and see how I'm going to break it. I am now here to create a special space where women are going to decide what they want to do for themselves. Like, for me, I don't want to be the first black anymore. I don't want to be the first woman anymore. I want to be the first person to do something. So I think to teach young women, especially young black women, how to do that, or that they can do that, is what's really important.
Guys, I'm with Pearl Thusi. They already knew. Yeah. No. I'm just reminding them. They don't. If you didn't know, swipe. Now you know. Like, no. Oh, swipe. Carry on with your life.
Welcome to an all-new episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Oluchi B.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Oluchi B. Please say the B, aka the elusive pundit. Honey, how are you feeling? I am feeling good. I'm actually so excited to be back. I was supposed to be back like 2 weeks ago, but the initial video that I recorded for this episode, I didn't like the angle that I took, and I wanted to do this masterclass justice. And I always stress myself. I was like, I speak about celebrities in relation to how we can all learn from them. And I always, like, every time I'm creating like episodes, I always think about the fact that the person I am using as like an example for a masterclass might view it, and I don't want them to be like, oh, this girl didn't even try. I mean, I want whoever, if I'm talking about whatever celebrity on whatever we're learning and they so happen to see it, I always want them to be like, okay, at least the girl tried. Like, I mean, that's like the bare minimum that I want. So I was like, no, if Pearl ever sees this episode, she'll be like, no, girl, like, go back to the drawing board. So I went back to the drawing board, but I had to be like off the grid for like 2 weeks. So I was not able to record and then edit and then drop it. I had to come back after 2 weeks. And then when I came back, I just got sick, which is why my voice is like this. And I've been holding on recording this episode. And now I feel like my voice is like getting better. It's not 100%, but I don't have like a very like loud voice. My voice is always like mellow a little bit. I've got my mom's voice. Usually when I'm not working, this is like literally my voice. It sounds like it's breaking all the time. I know, right? So you guys know I don't like wasting your time. So let's get into Lomkhelo Sizele Apha Namhlanje. So today we're going to be talking about how to diversify your career. Everyone's always like monotone about careers. I remember back in the day, someone was like, yeah, no, I'm an accountant. I've been an accountant for like 100 years. I was like, but why? Didn't you want to try out being something else like your whole life? You wanted to be an accountant? Like, you didn't want to do photography, like content creation, blah, blah, blah. But now we live in a world where people are able to either change careers entirely, which is something that I've done and have been successful in, or stack up careers, like have this career, have that career happening simultaneously. And again, it depends on where you are. Like sometimes we work like corporate jobs, like 9 to 5. You can't have like 12 jobs, but you can have like a main job and like different hustles that you do that add on to that job. Or you can actually just be like our celebrity example for today and have like multiple careers happening concurrently at the same time and be able to sustain that. And yeah, so whichever one you are, whether you want to jump ship to another career, whether you want to have a main career and have like different side hustles, or you want to stack up and be multi hyphenated, like our celebrity example for today, who is the perfect backdrop for this masterclass. And who am I talking about? Pearlthusi. I'm talking about Pearlthusi. I know my voice is gone. I wanted to sing it, but I can't because my voice is gone. But we're talking about Miss Pearl, multi-hyphenate Thusi, because I mean she's a multi-hyphenate when it comes to taking careers like infinity stones. So we are very grateful for you, Miss Pearl. And I wanted to play this clip in case you don't know who Pearl Thusi is.
The first runner-up, Pearl Thusi.
So without further ado, I have broken this essay into 3 main talking points. The first one is how to lay a strong foundation for diversification, okay? And then the second one, we're going to be talking about long-term financial planning for career diversification or jumping ship or whatever you want to do in your career. And then the last thing we're going to be talking about is diversifying with purpose. Because like it's pointless for you to do things for fun. There has to be purpose and intention behind what you're doing. So I thought that was like a very important point. And yeah, so 3 main talking points. I hope I don't make this long because you guys know I don't like wasting your time. So let's get to it.
You need to really believe in yourself and your dreams. There's a reason God gives you your dreams, or there's a reason that certain dreams, it doesn't matter who planted them in you, but there's a reason that they're in you, and there's a reason that you need to make them come true.
So Miss Pearl's been in the industry since 2003. So we were introduced to her as the second runner-up to Miss South Africa Teen. But before that, she was Miss Pearl Thusi in Durban. And she was just a child before she actually even started this career. And this is what she says was the catalyst to her starting her modeling career.
Beauty pageants, right? What inspired that?
How about Kirishni Naikam? Friends, we grew up in the hood. That was the only access you had to something entertainment orientated. Miss whatever. The first pageant saying how we na Miss Kwasa Kwasa. Yes. It was just Kwasa Kwasa was a new dance. They would find every reason to have a pageant. And so my dad kind of condoned that because for him it meant we'd look after our bodies. And then man figure high school there was a Miss Grade 8 and man gained a low Miss Grade 8 I won it. And there was a scout lab and everything has its own beginning. God always has a plan.
So from a very young age she had the modeling career. 2003 Miss S18, 2005 she's Miss KZN, so I'm assuming that's Miss KwaZulu-Natal. And then by then, her modeling career had found some strong foundation and some stability because she continued working. And one of the most iconic things that happened around this time when she was working as a model is her being the face of Trust Condoms. And I always forget how iconic that is. Imagine as a teenager, you get this big opportunity, you become the face of Trust, and your face has been there for more than 15 years, I guess. And that's literally an iconic career if you ask me. And then by 2006, 2007, her life in KZN has to come to a close and she has to move up to Johannesburg
I was still modeling, so kind of modeling again introduced me to the world of Joburg and the entertainment industry as well. Ngenza my commercials, ngenza my magazine shoots and advertorials and things. And then at some point I realized that, I actually am capable of more than just this.
True.
And I want to do more. And then I met an acting agent, and then I present futhi and acting as well. And that's really what brought me to where I am now.
True.
She then decided that she wanted to be an actress. And being an actress did not come out of the blue for Pearl Thusi. She had always wanted to be an actress. And this is what she said about her wanting to be an actress.
I don't do business this way. Well, we do.
At 25, Pearl has already made good on 2 big performance goals.
Hey, look at you on the set here, obviously, Dingo. But you've been here for 2 months now. How's it going?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I know this has been a long time dream of yours.
When I was 15 years old, when I started acting or really decided that this is what I want to do, I remember specifically saying to someone, if I were to act in any 2 things, it would be Zone 14 and Isidingo. And look at me now.
She makes the decision to be an actress. Through her agency, they get her an acting school, and she finds people that she admires around the industry.
I want to give a big shout out to someone who actually, I believe, I don't know if she's inspired you, but she definitely was a huge inspiration, and even big sister and mentor to me, Terry. I mean, if seeing Terry on that Oscar carpet did not inspire you, like when she was Leading Lady, she's an extremely huge inspiration to me, and I always want to make sure I recognize her. When I started doing RGB, I had no money, but I had all these events to go to, so I didn't have clothes, and the stylist didn't have enough clothes for me. I had 2, she was cleaning out her stuff, she gave me 2 big black bags full of designer clothes that I could wear for events. You know,
That's Terry.
And I think it's important for us to share these type of stories about the women who've supported us, and I think we don't talk enough about it. So shout out to Terry Peto, shout out to Basi, shout out to all those women who supported us.
Doing incredible things. And shout out to you guys, firstly, for sharing your Cosmo platform with one of,
It's an absolute honor.
And she starts preparing herself for the second career that she wants. So now it's 2007-8. She is in the midst of building her second career, which is acting. So she does the basics, and then eventually in 2009, she gets her first big break as an actress. And this role is on, I know it's a Botswana movie. My notes are just failing me right now. So her first role is in #1 Ladies Detective Show, which is a BBC show. And this show had big talent. Jill Scott was there. Idris Elba was there. So Pearl started her career on the other side of buttered up on an international platform with this #1 Ladies Detective Show. Sidebar, I actually read this book. I hated it. I hate fiction, by the way, just by myself. We read it and I hated it. I was like, oh, I don't even want to see the movie. So I've never seen the series. Like, I was like, this is not for me. And then she acts. And then as a way of further cementing herself, she decides she wants to add another job into the 2 jobs that she's already doing.
You know, I have a nickname for you, friend.
Are you sure you want to tell me? Are you sure?
Pearl, this is take your job. Thusi.
Whose job did I take though? I didn't take nobody's job. I just took a job.
And this is presenting. So I did the best that I could to look for information around whether or not she went to a presenting school. I believe she did. I just didn't find evidence to back it up, because everything that she's done, she's always had training provided for her before she proceeded into that career. So I definitely believe she did get some training into presenting. She just wouldn't show up there unprepared. I don't think so. She does that, and then she waits while practicing for the opportunity to show itself up. And behold, in 2011, the opportunity does present itself, and she is hired as an on-air personality, a TV presenter, on the biggest national show we had in South Africa at the time, which was Live Amp. And now, in a space of, let me count because you know I'm bad, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, So in a space of 9 years now, because she is now a presenter, on top of being an actress, on top of being a model, is now a triple threat, multi-hyphenated entertainer in South Africa in a space of 9 years. And she did this meticulously. She stacked up the skills that were required for these roles. She stacked up the support, whether it's an agency, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a guide, whether it's you paying attention to what's going on in the industry. She employed all of those things to make sure that she got to where she needed to get. And I wanted to highlight another thing with regards to laying a very, very strong foundation for either stacking up careers or changing careers. And that is spacing out the careers. So between 2003 and 2009, there was like 5-6 years in that space. So she was a model. She was acquainted with the model world. It says that it takes between 2 to 3 years for you to be acquainted with a career. And then when she got to her acting gig in 2009, the presenting gig was like 3 years, 4 years removed. And that is very important because you can't just be moving from this to that, this skill to that skill, that career to that career, this job to that job. You need to be able to learn something. The fundamentals of career are the same. So I wanted to emphasize on the fact that Pearl wasn't a model today, tomorrow she's an actress, the day after she's a presenter, blah, blah, blah. No, she had space between her careers and it allowed her to have a foundation in each career. Again, in corporate, they say that it takes you between 2 to 3 years to master a specific job that you have. And after those 3 years, then you are able to move on to another skill set because that one is already solidified. And Pearl did this to the T.
Your work ethic is unmatched. No, of course. I mean, at some point, Pearl was doing what, 5 shows?
Oh yeah, I used to say this on the link. I'd be like, the highly employable Pearl.
Yes.
You know what was interesting about that time though? It was that you'd shoot something over a year before and it would start playing a year later. Like specifically Zone 14 and Isitingo, I was long done.
Yeah.
Like ngaleso skhathi, I had to work that many jobs just to maybe come up with like 30,000 rand a month. You know, it wasn't that easy. I've paid the rent, I'm a single mom, I have a daughter, I send money back home, etc. So I had to work harder than I guess most people felt like they had to just make sure I survived.
Moving on to the second point, which is making long-term financial planning. So if you are going to be hopping from this career to that career, now you want to be an engineer, now you want to be a pizza delivery guy, now you want to be a DJ, now you want to be a quantity surveyor, blah, blah, blah. Or you want to be multi-hyphenate in the same industry like Pearl Thusi, where she's in the same industry. It's like an umbrella. She's Pearl, she's a presenter, she's a model, she is an actress, blah, blah, blah. So whatever it is that you want to do, financial acumen is very, very important. You need to have money in the bank. You can't just wake up and be like, hey, no, I'm sick and tired of this industry. I want to move to another one if you don't have money in the bank. And that's one of the things that Pearl did, was making sure that the money was stacked. And then she did the most important, which is financial freedom. And it happens in a lot of ways. Via investment, you need to have money chilling somewhere, growing on its own, via interest, via shares, via trading, or whatever you do. Or being an entrepreneur, which was Pearl's journey. First of all, like before I even lie, I don't know if she's got investment. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't, but we know her as the entrepreneur. Pearl decided to be an entrepreneur at some point because, I mean, if you're going to be in a flip-flopping career situation, you need to have a foundation. So Miss Pearl did that, and she had multiple businesses. She had the Pearlthusi hair situation going on, and she had the rose gin, black rose, gold rose. It's a gin though. It was a gin. And I also found on Google that she co-owned this modeling agency, but I couldn't find verifiable sources. Only AI told me that. And I was like, AI, where are you getting this information from? And AI was like, I don't know, it's somewhere on the internet, can't find it. And then she is allegedly a co-owner of the Humans Creative Agency. That also is on AI, not verified anywhere else. But I did see on YouTube that she was part of this creative agency. She participated in some video. So I don't know if it was just like a participation from a celebrity endorsement perspective, or she's part of the actual team that runs the creative agency, which would be dope. I swear to God, that would be dope. If Pearl had a modeling agency and a creative agency, that would be dope, because those are two arenas that Black women don't usually focus on. And those are big things, especially in this era of modeling, influencing, and creative endeavors and content creation. So she had businesses that were cash cow that provided a cushion for her so that she's able to play. And I said, some of us are not able to open businesses, but we are able to have some investment. I know, like, even if it's a small thing, you just with Old Mutual or with your bank, or you just have like, what do you call this, unemployment insurance, or you have like shares, bonds, trading, blah, blah, blah. Or you can just have like a spaza shop, elokishini somewhere, just like a cushion. If you know you're going to be a person that is going to be moving around in their career, you need like a strong foundation. And those are some of the ways in which you can have like money in the bank so that you're able to move and have freedom in your career. And I mean, I don't even want to lie to anybody. We really, really create careers to make money. So if you can make more money, do that. And so that was point 2. Make sure you are financially secure. And this goes for anybody, because I saw a quote one day that says that you need to always have money to be able to leave a job and leave a bad relationship. And I abide by those rules, okay? So if you're going to be changing careers, moving careers, you need to have like some level, stable money going on somewhere, okay?
What got you into music? Because you know a lot of artists. Even before, I'm sure you were like, let me do music. What got you into music? Were you inspired by The Room, or what was?
You know, my dad was a musician actually. Before he was a taxi owner, he wanted to be like Lionel Richie. He played bass. I have 2 bass guitars that I can't play very well, but I hope to one day be able to. And I've always loved music. I just never knew I was allowed to be a part of it. So I always found ways and pockets to be like Live Am, RGB. Like I always found a way to be close to musicians.
Presenting a lot of music.
I was always trying to be around musicians. Like I loved being around musicians. I loved how they were free. And I was coming from an era where like the it girl thing and the lack of freedom of speech, of anything, of dress code, all of those things was really stressing me out. But I saw musicians could be free. And I always knew I kind of belonged with those people. And what inspired me was losing the fear of failure. So
that's a big one, eh? So underestimated, but it's big.
Yeah, I stopped being scared of failing. Failing,
did that take you?
I want to say like truly this year was like the year, but the last 2, 3, I've been making music for like 3 years now, 3, 4 years. Nobody really knows, and it's been so fulfilling. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but like just lose the fear of failure. Failing is gonna happen. Rather let it happen quicker so that you can either keep trying to win or move on to what you're meant to win at.
And then moving on to the last bit, which is diversity with purpose. Now, you might look at Pearl's career and be like, yeah. She just wanted to be famous. She wanted to be a model and then an actress and then a presenter, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what happened. These have always been like embedded dreams that Pearl had. She just conjured them up to the surface and then she had to manifest them physically. And diversity with purpose means that you have strong intentions as to why you are doing certain things. And Pearl's always had that strong intention as to why she was doing that. She had a strong intention as to why she was modeling. She had a strong intention as to why she was acting. And then she had a strong intention as to why she was presenting.
And the only other thing is I just hope to die with nothing left to give to the world. I must be completely empty. God, I must not even be able to wipe my ass, like by that time. You know, not even a blink available. You know, my dreams, everything I ever thought I could do good for the world, all of that must be out. I want my grave to be in extreme poverty because everything I went there empty. Yeah.
So every time you add a career or every time you leave a career to have another one, you have to have a strong intention because that's what's going to carry you through the dark parts. And just to shine a spotlight on Pearl's very, very impressive career before we move on to what she's doing now and where she's going with it, is the fact that in her presenting, in her modeling, in her initial career, which was modeling, we have that iconic trust condoms situation going on. We have MAC Cosmetics. We have, what else did Pearl model in? I'll add them. Let me check my notes, hold on. Obviously, she was a commercial model. She used to be on ads, blah, blah, blah. And then in her presenting career, she's managed to do a lot. That she was on Live Amp, she was on Real Goboza, she was on Tropical Island of Treasure, she was on Lip Sync Battle Africa. She had that talk show on BET. I think she's done too many things. I just wanted to highlight some of her jobs that she's done as a presenter. And here are some of the stuff that she's been able to be in her acting career. Zone 14, Isidingos, Catching Feelings, Kaluchi, Scorpion Kings. What was that international show she was on? Quantico. She was in another movie in 2013. I will put a list if I can. Of the acting. And across all these different fields that she's been, she's managed to be authentic to herself. She's managed to have a strong intention as to why she was doing it. She's managed to have the right support network. She's managed to have the right training. She's managed to practice, wait for the opportunity to present itself, and then blow, blah, 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 when she was given the chance. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. And then, where is Miss Pearl now? Her last acting gig was in 2023, well, the one I could find on the internet. So, what is Pearl doing now?
Okay, introduce us to Pearl the DJ.
What?
Introduce us to Pearl the DJ.
Yo, what's up? My name is Pearlthusi. I am now also a DJ, and right now I'm playing some Ricky Rick because we're honoring Ricky Rick tonight, and then we're gonna get straight into some piano, which is actually the plan for my next part of the song. But I'm about to be the baddest bitch in town, so you motherfuckers get ready, okay?
She is still diversifying her career. I get it, the queen is the jack of all trades. So in 2024, Pearlthusi Kambri, out of the blue, decided to tell us that she is now DJ Pearlthusi. And you're like, how? Yeah. When? Why? How? And she was like, just because I can. And I was like, yes, but this is a new career, so no information is available around her DJing situation, whether she got training, blah, 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 like the list I usually give you guys, but that's not available for her DJing. What's available is why, the intention behind why she decided to pursue music, and this is what she had to say.
What got you into music? You know, my dad was a musician actually. Before he was a taxi owner, he wanted to be like Lionel Richie. He played bass. I have 2 bass guitars that I can't play very well, but I hope to one day be able to. And I've always loved music. I just never knew I was allowed to be a part of it.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. So Pearl is gearing up to drop some music.
I felt like releasing this music was going to be a big part of my own personal release from my burdens, you know, as well as actually releasing the music. So like this birthing process of the song has been difficult in so many ways, you know, thinking, oh, I need to have like a big splash, you know, like this, that, you know, Pearl Thusi or whatever. Like I had to get that all out the way and let the music speak for itself.
I don't know if she's dropped the music. I did Google it. I didn't see anything. So she said she was dropping something in 2025. I didn't see anything. If she did, I'm sorry, Miss Pearl. Ooh, I am for real. So yes, she is now a DJ as well as, I don't know in which capacity she's going to be making music. She's going to be a producer, a composer, a vocalist, or she's just going to be a combination of all of those things. And I'm actually very, very excited for Pearl's new career edition because I like women like Pearl. I also like Idris Alba. Don't believe you should be pigeonholed. There's no such thing as like your lane. If you can do it, you can do it. Which leads me to the quote of what the whole jack of all trades things actually says. It says, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So, a jack of all trades doesn't mean that you have to be like the supreme master. I believe people who do monotone careers should be the ones who are focused on being like supreme masters in the art. People like Beyonce. You know, Beyonce doesn't do anything besides singing. You know, who does that locally in South Africa? I don't know. I like my brain's fried. And then acting, like you think about people like Denzel Washington, who is like the goat of acting. And then when it comes to presenting, I don't know really who's like the main chick for presenting. I don't know. I think presenting is like a lost art. What I want to say, if you're going to be journeying on multiple skills, you need to be meticulous with it. You need to have a plan of action, actionable steps, what we're going to do after what happens, why are we going, the strong intention, and what do we want to achieve when we get there, and how are we going to know when we have achieved it. You have to have KPIs, and you need to be able to measure those KPIs as you move from this skill to that skill, that job to that job, adding different jobs together, blah, blah, blah. And I think I've got no more notes on my situation. What I wanted to add this with is a clip that Pearlthusi actually blessed us with around allowing people to evolve.
And people sometimes need time to go back in the cocoon and evolve again and become a different type of butterfly or a phoenix or whatever. So you must always just love artists through all the phases they go through.
So everybody, not just artists, everybody should be allowed to evolve. I've evolved out of a lot of places and a lot of spaces, and I've evolved out of my dreams that I had when I was a child. I've evolved out of friendship. So all of us are in evolution and growth, so we should be allowed to do that. And another thing I wanted to add, which doesn't bother Miss Pearl at all, is the whole ageism thing. Like, oh, you're too old to start. Hello, here's a list of people who started late in life. Whether you want to change career, start a career, like time is truly a construct. Time is not linear. Don't believe. Do not believe those lies. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope I did it justice this time, and I hope I'm gonna have fun editing it. I enjoy editing. And yeah, thank you so much, Miss Pearlthusi, for not allowing society to box you in. Thank you for taking time to hone different skills. Thank you for taking time to show us the possibility of what's available for us. And I wish you all the best in your new career, which is in music as a DJ and as whatever you choose to be. I wish you all the best. I'm going to be tuning in. I love music. And yeah, thank you so much for being the backdrop for this masterclass.
What's crazy is the very first time I was on screen, though, was when I was 15, almost 21 years ago for Miss SA18.
Oh, really?
So, you know, I've been wrapping my head around my career. So I think South Africa and this industry has really embraced me. Whether it was with thorns or you know, flowers sometimes, I have been embraced, and I'm grateful for that embrace, no matter what it's taken for me to thicken my skin or the joy that it's brought as well. I'm so grateful that I come from such a beautiful country.
And talking about that embrace, I mean, we've seen you transition from model to presenter to actress to mother to advocate on social media platforms. How do you think South Africans have often reacted to truly who you are and the way that you bear yourself to the country?
I think truly authentic people, just in the history of the world, not even just specifically in this industry, politically as well. Authenticity and honesty will not always give you a response that you can always predict. So for me, the responses have been varied, you know. When it was an honesty and an authenticity that agreed with the masses, of course, then that opinion or whatever was also embraced.
Right.
But I don't really live, you know, according to the idea of hoping for that embrace always. I live according to my own rules. I need to embrace myself and embrace what I love first and foremost, and understand that as long as I'm serving myself and serving the purpose that God has brought me here for. So the reactions have definitely sometimes been hurtful. The reactions have been powerful and beautiful, supportive. It's been balanced, right. I think, yeah.
And I mean,
and with that said, I've got no further information to give to the masses. Do comment, do subscribe, do share this information, do tell your friends, like, if you're compelled to. Otherwise, I will see you guys when I'm back. I hate to say next week, just now I don't pop back up because of like personal circumstances, but I'm never gone. I'm always around the corner. Thank you guys. Love and light.
It's one take, B. We rarely have to do it twice. You need to get that on camera.